show you guys how to make cornbread. A lot of people think they know how to make cornbread, but I'm just going to show you the good old-fashioned way to make cornbread, the way I was taught by my mama. I have 2 eggs. I got a little bit of Martha White right there. That's the good stuff. A little bit of Kroger milk, nothing like milk. And my personal choice is canola oil. And I use the best choice just because it's cheaper. But canola oil is just a little bit better for you. But you can use any kind of oil. You can use vegetable oil or whatever the case may be. Now you'll notice I don't measure this stuff out. There's not a whole lot of point because this is about consistency more than anything else. So I'm just going to pour the stuff in there, crack the egg. A lot of people want to use recipes and such, and I guess to make it a little bit easier for as YouTube goes, you would want to throw some recipes in there. But it's just not that complicated. Just a splash of milk, a little bit of canola oil, probably somewhere in the vicinity of a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons. And then all you're going to do is you're just going to take it, just going to mix it up. You're looking for consistency and having those ingredients inside of it. If you notice that it's kind of thick, not exactly what you would want because it's just really thick, you can't do much with that. But that's the beauty of not recipeing it all up. This is just the good old quick way of doing it. I'm not going to try to make this just extremely complicated. It's just going to be what it is. And now if you look, it's got kind of a consistency of dough. Not dough rather, but it's a little runny. But if you notice the consistency, that's the way I like my cornmeal to look right there. Make it look right. Mix it up well. It's got a little oil in it. You put too much oil in it, it'll be packy. You put too little oil in it, it'll be dry. But that's the beginning. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to set it off the side. I use a cast iron skillet. I use a thin one because I like thin cornbread, but you can decide whatever you want to do. Now I'm going to put enough oil in here that I can cover the entire bottom pretty easily. Now, if there's not enough in there to cover the whole bottom, I'm going to put more. The entire thing is going to be covered. There we go. And now I'm going to move it over to the skillet, but I'm going to pause this and get back to you in just a minute. Back, I've got my temperature set at looks like 425. That's what I like it at. It's not preheated yet, but it's in the process. Just an old skillet. I just turn the grease on high. And whenever it starts to warm up, which it'll warm up really quickly, won't take long at all. After it gets done with that, you'll notice that the grease starts running really free as it heats up. Once it gets to the proper temperature, where it's popping a little bit, I'll add a little cornmeal. Back with you in a minute. Okay, it's only been a couple of minutes since I put pause. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cornmeal, same exact cornmeal what I had a while ago, Martha White buttermilk cornmeal, and I'm going to sprinkle some in here at the bottom. Now I'm doing this, you'll see why. Now what I've done is I've done that cornmeal and I'm going to move it around a little bit, let it get mixed in. If it won't mix in, moving it around, you can always take a fork and just mix it around pretty good. Now I've got my little greased cornmeal mixture and I'm going to watch it for a minute. And if you'll notice it's bubbling and popping a little bit, what I want it to do is I want it to brown. Not a lot, just a little bit. You don't want that nice, clean, crispy look this is Southern cooking, so therefore it's going to be bad for you. So if it's going to be bad for you, you need to make it look a little bad. You'll notice it's starting to get a little brown in there. So it's browning. Now we're going to go back over here to my mixture. Now look at this. See how it's thickened up? That's the whole point of having it done like it was a while ago. A little bit on the runny side. Now I'm going to pour my mixture directly on top of this. Be right back. Now I've poured it on there, and all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to stir it around and let it get even throughout the skillet. Alright, yeah, it looks terrible for you, I know. You'll be alright. Now what I'll do, I've got the temperature on high. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until this starts to bubble a little bit. See how it's kind of getting a little pop right there? I want it to bubble in the middle. What's happening here is it's giving it a good crispy crust on the bottom with the flakiness of cornbread on the with the other cornmeal that I put in there earlier in the grease. So what it's doing is going to give it a little bit of a heavy crust on the bottom. And that to me is what makes cornbread. You got to have that good heavy crust. Now if you notice, there's a little steam starting to pop out. That's what I want to see right there. I want to see that starting. Now if I'm not careful and I leave it on there too long, it is definitely going to burn. Grease or no grease. Now I'm going to set it off. I'll turn the grease off. It's off the eye. Now I'm going to let it sit there for a minute until I have a preheated temperature of about 420-25 degrees, something like that. That's where I really like to be. Once that happens, I'm going to throw it in the oven. Going to cook it down and take it out. I'll show you the end product in a minute. I'm taking it out of the oven, and this is the little brownness that I wanted to come about. Now this is going to be, just as a disclaimer, this is hot, guys. Don't touch it with your hand. I mean, I know there's a lot of idiots out there. All right, I'm just going to take a regular butter knife, and I want to make sure of one thing. I want to make sure that it's not stuck. Well, I'm going to do that. I'm popping underneath there, and I'm going to move it. See how it just freely moves? Look at there. The whole thing will move freely within the skillet, and that's what I want to see. Now I'm going to take my pad. Yes, I've got the old plates, but they're cool. Dump it over. Now, don't worry yourself with this. It's not a big deal. But now what we have is the good old fashioned cornbread like I was taught to make when I was younger. Didn't use a recipe. As you saw, I just put it together. Cornbread's not complicated. It's not complicated, it's not hard, but there are so many people that have no idea how to make cornbread. It's got a good crisp crust on the bottom of it, my favorite part. And yes, it's delicious. Have fun making your cornbread, guys. Nothing like the old-fashioned way of doing things.